Hello, everyone. My name is Michael, and I'm an OA this summer, and welcome to another edition of the OA Summer Panels. As a reminder, an OA is an orientation advisor, which serves as a peer advisor to help you all transition to college life. And we're all here to chat about navigating success in the classroom this week. Today, we have a couple of A's, and before we get started, we'll just go around introducing ourselves. And I'll get us started on that. So as I said earlier, my name is Michael, and I will be a rising sophomore in computer science, and I'm from Harker Heights, Texas.
Hi everyone, my name is Kimberly. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I'm also a rising sophomore, but in the McCombs School of Business.
My name is Molly Mathis. I'm also a rising sophomore. I'm an accounting major from San Antonio, Texas.
Hey y'all, I'm Raina. Oh, sorry. Hey y'all, I'm Raina. I'm a geography and religious studies major. I'm a rising junior and I'm from Katy, Texas.
Hi everyone, I'm Sanj. I'm an incoming sophomore marketing major from Allen, Texas.
Hey everyone, my name is Zachary. I'm a rising junior studying government from Austin, Texas.
Thank you, everybody. So as I said today, we're going to be answering a few questions, but if you guys have any questions, just feel free to throw them in the comment section. And so without further ado, the first question for today is, how will college courses differ from high school courses? And what did you do to manage that difference?
All right, so to answer this question, one of the main things that I noticed is that there are definitely more resources available to you in college, but they aren't as in your face about them as they were in high school. You really have to go seek them out instead of them really bringing them to you. So for example, office hours for professors and also SI, supplemental instruction sessions can be really good resources to help you with their classes. I know for me, and I had an economics class that had a supplemental instruction section, and what that is, it's like an upperclassman, like a junior who runs it, and we would just do practice problems in there, and that really helped me just stay on top of things so I didn't have to cram as much near the end, near tests. So things like that can help out a lot, but you really do have to consciously make the choice to attend them. So in that sense, college classes do require more self-discipline.
Totally, kind of to add a little bit on top of what Molly said, classes in college are definitely more rigorous. So a majority of the learning is left up to the student. Like Molly said, if you need help, you have to seek it out yourself. So personally, what I did to manage the difference was I had to reassess all of my study habits because I know for me, maybe like a lot of you, we were part of the kids in high school who had to put maybe not a lot of effort to get in maximum results. So once you get to college, you experience like this little learning curve where you're like, okay, I have to now sit down for a few hours and actually study. So you have to learn to manage your time, learn what study habits work for you. So that's really how I kind of managed the difference. I had a TA who held study sessions before every exam, and they were super helpful. I really enjoyed how he organized them and structured them. So I kind of, started getting a little bit of how he would structure his PowerPoints, and that started to work for me when I started to study. So as you get in college, you'll kind of learn to see how everybody else studies around you, and you'll learn what works for you. It's like a little trial and error process.
Definitely. Thank you, Molly and Kimberly. That was really great answers. And so next up, this is a question that I've personally been asked a lot over the sessions, and that is, if I'm interested in seeking academic help, where could I find that? And how could I make the most of the help I seek? So I'll actually go first on this. And as my fellow OAs, Molly and Kimberly just mentioned, office hours are a great tool when it comes to finding academic help. There's nobody better to go for help than your professor, the person who's writing your exams. But most importantly, just sitting in the room and hearing questions from all the people who are attending can end up helping you in your quest to find academic help. Additionally, of course, the internet is your best friend. I think we live in an age where education is at its peak when it comes to accessibility, and college is, in a way, about you making the most of it, but also learning how to find answers on your own. And learning how to find those answers on the internet will carry you through school. Next up is the Sanger Learning Center. This is a place that I came to really appreciate, especially during my first semester. I remember the first round of tests I took, they went absolutely terrible, right? Because going into them, I had this mindset where, oh, I don't need help. It's okay. I'll just wing it like I did in high school. But I didn't. It didn't work out that way. And so I started going to the Sanger Learning Center at least once a week over the courses that I felt I struggled the most with. And after that, my grades skyrocketed back up. So I would definitely have to say that the Sanger Learning Center, I gotta thank them, and it is a great resource on campus. And finally, another resource that helped me a lot was going to study groups. I know you may have had them in high school, but at UT, with so many students in your class, with some classes ranging up to 300, I think finding, a small group of maybe 10 or 20 people and just studying before exams really helps you prepare.
Yeah, that was awesome. Michael hit a lot of great points, and mostly for my part, I just kind of like to reiterate those points. So we do have a lot of resources at UT. Definitely the Sanger Learning Center. I know they have help for both qualitative classes and quantitative classes, so that's one of the primary resources there. I know between the OAs, we were talking earlier about how maybe when you need a little more help with writing essays, we also have the University Writing Center, and they're very useful for that. I had a professor who we only had 2 essays for the whole semester. And in the first semester, he came back, he gave us all back our essays, and he was like, well, do you guys not know how to write a college essay? And we were all like, okay. So for the final, I ended up going to the University Writing Center to get it looked at, and I did much better on that. So definitely recommend it. And then also, like we mentioned earlier, professor office hours. Like Michael said, they are the ones writing your test. So it's best to hear it from the one that's teaching it to you. So definitely go to office hours. And then I know Molly mentioned them earlier, the supplemental instruction sessions, the SI sessions, and those are really useful. I took a history class where all of the supplemental studying was SI sessions, and we had very vague writing exercises. And in the SI sessions, the SI leader would very in an organized manner would tell you what the professor was looking for. So very, very helpful. And lastly, like Michael said, the internet will be your best friend, because when when we don't have anywhere else to go, the internet is always going to be there. So definitely very useful.
Thank you, Kimberly. And so the next question I have for my fellow A's is, what is your favorite study tip?
So one thing that really helped me was having a few different study spots, whether that's on campus or even in your house. But so having different study spots that all kind of have designated purposes and kind of vibes can help. And so what I mean by that is maybe having a spot, whether it's outside for if you're doing lighter work, like homework problems, but then if you really need to focus, having a different spot. Like for me, I know the quiet floors of the library on campus, or that was where I would go when I had to just sit down and write an essay. And so I think just having those differentiated spots kind of helps you get into the mindset that you need to be in to do those specific types of work. And then another thing, I'm definitely a big enthusiast of studying with other people. I definitely did it a lot. I think it's a great way to break up just the monotony of studying. But I would say if you're gonna be less productive than you would be studying alone, study for a little bit before, so that way you don't come out of it just feeling bad about yourself. Just be aware of how you are when you study with other people and kind of plan for that, do a little extra work beforehand if you need to. But yeah, that's what really helped me.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Molly said. I think finding different new study spots whenever I could was a great way to really motivate myself and just change things up in my daily routine. So I know that when I was on campus, one of my favorite things to do would be finding different coffee shops to study in, because I just really like those vibes. So one of my favorite places was Medici's, which is a coffee shop on Guadalupe Street. And another place I like to study was the tables outside of Gregory Gym. Just when the weather was nice, which sometimes is rare in Texas, I really just wanted to take advantage of that. And then even if you are planning to stay at home this semester, I would suggest maybe trying to study in different rooms around your house or outside if you can, just to keep changing things up and stay motivated whenever you can.
Unmute didn't work. So for me, I think a really important thing is learning how to adapt the material into a way that makes sense to you. And a really great way to do that is by using concept maps. So you'll receive information in class in a specific order, in a specific way. And on tests, if you lose a piece of that process, it can make the information more difficult to recall. So whenever you use a concept map, you start with one concept and then you write out some other concepts and then you find the ways in which they connect. So instead of only being able to reach information C by going A, B, C, maybe you can jump from A to C when you make a concept map. And I will also say you can get a lot more study tips by attending a Sanger Learning Center workshop, because something that sometimes goes a little bit unknown about the Sanger Learning Center is that not only can they help you with course content, but they can also help you with, you know, being a student, like how to read more effectively, how to prepare for finals. So definitely check out a Sanger Learning Center workshop if you can, and hopefully you'll learn some tips that you can use to study in all the different spaces that you find from following Molly and Santa's advice.
Great. Yeah, those are honestly great tips. And yeah, I hope you guys follow some of them. And before we move on to the next question, I like to just reiterate again that if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and we'll answer them through the chat. So moving on, the next question I have for my fellow A's is, in a large class or even an online class, how do you stay engaged and actively participate?
Yeah, definitely. So for me personally, I used to love asking questions to the professor because I wanted to give as much information as possible so I can be prepared for an upcoming test or just make sure my notes are all straightforward. And I remember my freshman year, I was a bit tad nervous at first trying to ask questions because I didn't know what was the proper question to ask, or totally didn't know exactly what question I should be asking. But once I just started asking the questions, I felt really comfortable about it. And yeah, definitely like Michael and Kimberly were saying, we do have office hours. The professors there are lonely, so they would appreciate if you'd stop by. But yeah, those are like helpful things to do, especially if like you're in a large class or you're in Zoom.
Yeah, and for online classes, I think I really learned a lot about how to stay engaged during those as we finished off the rest of the spring semester online. So I realized that while it is very tempting, it's important to try to put your phone away whenever you can, because when you're just, checking the phone, checking text, checking social media, while you're trying to, listen to a lecture, it is inevitable that you probably will not be paying attention as much as you should be. So I learned that I needed to just put it away sometimes, just really focus on what the professor was saying, listen to the lecture, take notes, because that kind of helps you remember things better when you're actually writing it down. And then I know that sometimes in this online format, it can be kind of, you can feel kind of nervous about unmuting yourself and asking questions in front of everyone else. So definitely feel free to also, drop your questions in the chat if you're more comfortable that way. But I think, yeah, if you just follow those things, you can definitely still stay engaged and actively participate in online classes.
Thank you. Thank you. And next up, what if you want to dive deeper into your studies? What opportunities are there at UT to take academics out of the classroom?
Yeah, so one of the really great things about UT is that we have so many different ways that you can get involved on campus and that you can learn in ways outside of the classroom. So one of the first places that's so important, and you've heard us talking about all of the time, is office hours. Asking professors for opportunities is something that a lot of people don't think to do, but one of our fellow OAs actually got an opportunity to do undergraduate research just by going to office hours. So talking to your professors is a great way to not only make connections with course content, but also find opportunities beyond. We have an office on campus called the Office of Undergraduate Research, or the OUR, and they have a search function that helps you find different research opportunities that are happening on campus. If perhaps you weren't able to find a connection through a professor, you can look around there. There's also the Longhorn Center for Community Engagement, or the LCCE, that provides different opportunities for experiential learning in the Austin community. So definitely check out their website. They can also help you connect with just like one-off volunteering opportunities or different community engagement. I feel like I'm saying the word opportunities too much, but opportunities. And there's just other campus like centers that can help you get involved. Like the Campus Environmental Center has internships, Gender and Sexuality Center has internships. Really, the best thing to do is to think about what it is that you want to get involved in and try to see if there's a resource on campus and then see how you can get involved with that resource.
Thanks. And I also offer my answer to this question. And of course, like the one that comes immediately to mind is, maybe find an internship, a job, or even a volunteer opportunity around Austin. For example, working at the Capitol for my gov majors out there, or if you're in pre-health, you can find a hospital to volunteer at, as there are so many around Austin. And additionally, your professors are also a great resource when it comes to this, as they are experts in their field and they've probably lived in Austin for a good chunk of time. So because of that, they are best at like knowing where places to go if you need, new opportunities out of the class. So definitely ask your professors. All right. So moving on to our last question of the day. What is your number one piece of advice to a new student on finding success in their academics?
So for me personally, my number one piece of advice there is that it's okay to come in unsure of what works best for you, kind of like what Kim was saying at the beginning, where like some people, I know I wasn't used to like really grinding and studying hard in high school. And so it's really about trial and error and just learning what works for yourself and just like being willing to learn.
For me, I would say balance, finding an org as well as, talking to friends and things, because marathon study sessions are not good for actually holding information in your brain. So trying to avoid them as much as possible and balance it out with other aspects of life is really important.
So I'd say my piece of advice is to step out of your comfort zone, maybe both in your personal life and in your academic life. I know all throughout college, all throughout up to high school, we've had like the structure, to follow in terms of classes and like what we had to take to graduate. But now you're at a time where you can quite literally explore anything that even piques your interest a little bit to see if maybe you truly have a passion for that. So I definitely say to step out, try new things, take a class that you maybe would have never taken before, and you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at what you learn about yourself and your interests.
So while grades are really important in college, I think it's important to also realize that you're really here and you're really taking these classes to learn. Like you are in one of the best schools in the state and you have some of the best professors here. So I think you should really try to take advantage of that as much as you can. And then also another thing that I wish I could have really gone back in time and told myself when I was a freshman is to try to stay on track, like from the beginning, like sometimes it is very easy to want to cram things at the very end because, that may be what you're used to doing in high school, but in college, learning is really an ongoing process. So I would say, procrastination, not your friend. Definitely try to just stay updated with things as things go on as much as you can.
Yeah. So when it comes to doing well in class, I would say one of the biggest things is taking care of yourself. And I mean this in both physically and mentally. So I really got into going to the gym a lot. And in fact, I even made it a ritual on test days to run at least 2 miles before the test to get, all the brain juices flowing. But on the terms of mental health, this is something that's very important, especially with how stressful college can get. And so, like everybody has said, take time to just take it easy and take care of yourself. And on that note of taking things easy, I would say that the easiest classes are the ones you enjoy. I mean, it is true that GPA lasts forever, but at the same time, 50 years from now, you probably won't be thinking about that B, but about that one class that you maybe struggled in, but it really was the highlight of your college career.
And yeah, most importantly, enjoy what you are learning and have fun while doing it. Even though academics is a serious subject and like we are pressured to focus on that, enjoy what you're doing and like have fun while you're learning. Because I would say that I wish I told myself back when I was a freshman and told myself saying like, hey, have fun what you're doing because this is a one-shot opportunity. that most people don't have an opportunity to get. So enjoy what you're doing, have fun, and have fun learning.
So on that note, thank you to all my OAs for participating today. It was really great, and I really enjoyed all of your answers. And for all of those in the comments section, maybe watching this, if you haven't come to an orientation session yet, we look forward to seeing you guys within these next couple of weeks. And if you have, maybe we'll see you on campus when we do return to campus. So on that note, thank you all, and hook 'em.